Good day, I am Katrina Ann, and today we will talk about feminism, its history, the three waves, types, impacts, and pros and cons. But first, let us determine what feminism is. Feminism is a range of political movements, ideologies, and social movements that share common goals, and that is to define, establish, achieve political, economic, personal, and social equality of sexes. This includes seeking to establish educational and professional opportunities for women that are equal to those for men. Now, if you are curious about how did the idea of feminism start, around 21st centuries ago, Plato argued the total political and sexual equality for women, advocating that they be a man of his highest class, those who rule and fight. Italian-French writer Kristine is cited by Simone de Beauvoir as the first woman who denounced misogyny and write about the relation of sexes. Other early feminist writers includes Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa and Modesta de Pozo de Forzi, who worked on the 16th century, and the 17th century writer Hannah Woolley in England, Juana Inés de la Cruz in Mexico, Marie Le Georges de Gournay, Anna Bradstreet, and Francois Paulin de la Barre. One of the most important 17th century feminist writers was Margaret Cavendish. Her knowledge was recognized by some, such as the proto-feminists, but Sue Makin considered her a prime example of what women could be through education. While an 18th century or Age of Enlightenment was characterized by secular intellectual reasoning and a flowering of philosophical writings, many Enlightenment philosophers defended the rights of women, including Jeremy Bentham, Marquis de Condorcet, and Mary Wollstonecraft. Other important writers that time expressed the feminist views included Abigail Adams, Catherine Macaulay, and Hedvig Carlota Nordenskiöld. Feminists and scholars have divided the movement's history into three waves, and that's what we're going to tackle next.
Oh, hey! I'm Princess Simpson, and I'm continuing the discussion for feminism and its different waves. To clear up confusions, the wave metaphor became a way to describe and distinguish the different eras and generations of feminism. Let's go back to the first wave of feminism. The first wave of feminism took place in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, emerging out of an environment of urban industrialism and liberal socialist politics. The goal of the waves was to open up opportunities for women with a focus on suffrage. The wave formally began at the Seneca Falls Convention in 1848, where 300 men and women rallied to the cause of equality for women. Elizabeth Cady Stanton drafted the Seneca Falls Declaration outlining the new movement's ideology and political strategies. The second wave began in the 1960s and continued into the 90s. This wave unfolded in the context of anti-war and civil rights movements and the growing self-consciousness of a variety of minority groups around the world. The New Left was on the rise, and the voice of the second wave was increasingly radical. In this phase, sexuality and reproductive rights were dominant issues, and much of the movement energy was focused on passing the Equal Rights Amendment to the Constitution, guaranteeing social equality regardless of sex. The radical New York group called the Red Stockings staged a counter pageant in which they crowned the sheep as Miss America and threw oppressive feminine artifacts such as bras, girdles, high heels, makeup, and false eyelashes into the trash can. The third wave of feminism began in the mid-90s and was informed by post-colonial and post-modern thinking. In this phase, many constructs were destabilized, including the nation's universal womanhood, body, gender, sexuality, and heteronormativity, an aspect of third wave feminism that mystified the mothers of the earlier feminist movement was the readaptation by young feminists of the very lipsticks, high heels, cleavage proudly exposed by low-cut necklines that the first two phases of the movement identified with male oppression. Pink Floor expressed this new position when she said that it's possible to have a push-up bra and brain at the same time.
So, it is undeniably a fact that a lot of people aren't fully knowledgeable about the word feminism. Tons of misconceptions and incorrect mindsets have emerged since it is a contemporary issue right now that we are facing in our world. One good reason why there's a big difference between reality and stereotype is because, or might be because, of the different types of feminism. So here it goes. First, the white feminist. It is an epithet used to describe the feminist theories that focuses and fights for the white women's struggles. Second, the radical feminism. It is the idea that sexism is so deeply rooted in the society that the only way to eliminate it is to abolish gender completely. This type of feminism also wants to find ways to grow baby outside a mother's womb so she can continue working and not have face the maternal leave. Third, the cultural feminism. It is a type of feminism that commends the difference between men and women. It opposes the idea of radical feminism and promotes feminine personalities. Fourth, the socialist feminism. It calls for a major change, but not as extreme as radical feminism. This movement calls for an end to capitalism through a socialist reformation to our economy. Fifth, the liberal feminism. This movement, or this type of feminism, believes that all individuals should have the equal opportunities and rights. Six, the intersectional feminism. It is the term used to describe the people who fight for all women's struggles, including racism or anti-racism, anti-ableism, anti-classism, positive or body positivity, and LGBTQA+ advocacy. Lastly, the Islamic feminism. Islamic feminism aims for full equality of all Muslims. It advocates women's rights, gender equality, and social justices in the framework of Muslims.
The theory and practice of feminism has had crucial and long-standing impacts on society, modifying and benefit the lives of women and girls in our world today. And here, I'm going to tackle the list of the greatest and most prominent impacts of feminism. First, women's suffrage. In history, this movement was a decades-long fight to win the right to vote for women, particularly in the United States. And because of the progressive campaign of feminists against women's suffrage, women today are now able to vote and has the same responsibilities of citizenship like men. Second, it has changed gender roles in marriage. The traditional role of the mother in a family is to carry out a housewife role, whereas the role of the father is to carry out a breadwinner role. The society doesn't see women to be as strong as men. But look at now, in today's time, women can also do what men can do. Third, women today are now equally in the same job as men. During the Industrial Revolution, women were often paid less than their male counterparts in the same labor. In US, John F. Kennedy signed the Equal Pay Act of 1963 and states that paying men and women working in the same place a different salaries for similar work is illegal. Fourth, women nowadays are more involved in politics. The new activities and programs of women participation in the political field allowed women to play variety of roles as a voter, political party member, and civil society activities that result in tangible gains for democracy. Fifth, feminism has reduced domestic violence. There comes a point where news headlines direct our attentions to the vital feminist concern, which is the acts that was built and passed, including the Anti-Violence Against Women and Children Act in 2004 and the Domestic Violence Intervention Program that prevents further acts of violence against women or her child, and provide shelter and support for those victims in unsafe home environment. Feminism has come a long way needed and it is continuing to grow day by day. A lot has been achieved and the fight is still on. But everything has its pros and cons. First, feminism is undoubtedly may lead towards self-love and self-respect. It will help a person to realize her worth and her capability to do everything despite being a female. Second, feminism will give a female sense of belongingness. It will give a woman a natural act of looking out for other women and support each other's rights. Third, feminism promotes equality. Both partners perceive themselves as equals, so their relationship will build on the basis of mutual respect instead of being dependent on control and indulgence. However, despite having positive goals, there is still a confusion between men and women that may lead to misunderstanding regarding their privilege and responsibilities.
And this has been a discussion about feminism from 11 HUMSS. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye-bye!